And this is kind of a fun drawing. It's unique. It's something different than what you've probably seen or done before. Well, each place that we have these joints, we're going to change the outer edge of our line just a little bit. So here's what I mean. And I'm going to zoom in on this little finger right here. And we have this line that comes over. And I'm going to round this off, and I'm going to put a little joint coming here, and a little joint coming here. I'm going to come down here and here. I'll do that right here and right here. We're segmenting it off just slightly. So I'll put one right here, one right here. And then I'm going to erase that main line because I want this to look segmented off. That's why I said we need to draw these lines light. It's going to be a little difficult for me because I drew mine a little darker so you could see it clearly on the screen up here. Once we're finished, this is what it should look like and segmented out. It's okay if it's darker now, because this outer line, once we have made these little segments in it, is going to stay the same throughout our drawing. So hopefully you follow what I've done there. Broke that up so the edge isn't just a one long line. And I'm going to go and do each one of the fingers like that right now. What I'm doing right now is just erasing that edge so that I can just come in there and alter it. And it almost looks like a skeletal frame. Like it was a really fat bone skeleton, like really thick bones. But if that's the way it looks when you finish, all segmented out, then you have done it correctly. And don't forget to do the thumb, like I almost did. back that off. Let you see what that looks like right now. Okay, is there anyone that does not at least have two fingers already segmented out? So I'm assuming everybody's at least got like the little finger and the ring finger done. So let's just pause there for now. And I'm going to get you started on what we're going to do, and then you can come back and segment out the rest of this. I mean, when this drawing's complete, you'll segment here, 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 on all these things. But for now, let's get going with what we're actually going to do. Why we segmented that out is so that we have a contour line, which is now this, to follow around. And it's almost going to appear like a fingerprint when we do this. So what's important is you have good sharp pencil. You're going to come in very close to your edge, and you're going to follow and make a parallel line all the way around the inside of that segment. I'll lift this up just a little more. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm coming all the way around it. And then when you get to the corners, make sure you round off all your corners. Do not have a hard pointed corner anywhere inside here. Your fingerprints do not have a right angle, a sharp right angle anywhere on your fingerprints. They're always rounded off, so it needs to stay looking very organic and very rounded off. The biggest thing is to try to keep these lines close together without them touching the one next to it and not getting too much space between them. Now, as you come around and do this, the shape will actually change slightly as it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay, so now I have that one drawn. Just like that. None of the lines touch. They're all very close together. I'll let you finish that one, and then I'm going to show you some things to try to avoid on this next one over. This is going to be our mistake finger. This is going to be our finger that's turning out the way we want it to. And we're only going to do this one section right now because if I can catch the problems early, then hopefully it'll catch the problems early in your drawing and you won't make a lot of mistakes. So all I want you to do is just this little part right here. Don't do beyond this little top part of your pinky finger. Just do that one section for right now. All right, I want you to look up at the screen for now because I'm going to show you in this section, this section, and this section, things to avoid. So here's the first one. And this is the one that's probably the most common. What's the problem with that? Did I follow the contours? I did, but what's the problem? Yeah, there's way too much space between our lines. Okay, So if yours looks kind of like this, you know that you got to probably double or triple the amount of lines and have less space. Then we get to this one, and here's one that gets kind of common. You're following along, and then you come down here. You're doing a pretty good job. And you get to this next one. I don't know why this happens a lot, but it does. Okay, this one is similar to the one above it, but here's what's happening, and I don't really know why this happens, but it's just something to be aware of, so I'm bringing it to your attention. Our lines are pretty close together on this side, but then they get far apart on this side. So I see that happen quite often, that one side will not be consistent with the other side, or the top or the bottom won't be consistent with the rest of it. You'll have them all bunched up in one area and all separated far apart in another. On this, they're all pretty evenly apart. That's kind of what that is what your goal is an even space all the way around and not getting bunched up close on one side and far apart on the other. Okay, that's something we really need to try to avoid. Then here's the last one, and this is super common. Even though I said try not to do this, some will, and that's why we're addressing it directly. Remember to round off all your corners. There are no hard, sharp corners. The whole thing needs to be rounded and needs to look organic. All right, now that we have covered that, what you need to do with the rest of your hand is you just need to come in anywhere that you have a line that meets the outer edge of your drawing. Just come in and put that little gap in there, okay? You can then darken in these lines right here. Come around here. And the reason we're doing this is it makes it a lot easier when we come in to put our contour lines in. We're kind of creating that outer line is what we're doing. So that way when I come in here and I got a weird funky one like this, I just follow my line around. It's kind of a big teardrop shape. Come to the next one. Making sure that each time I got to turn a corner that I round it off. Now this is a little bit tedious and you really have to focus and be careful. One, not to have your lines touch, and two, to make sure you keep them pretty darn close together. They're not going to be perfect, but they should be close. And as you work your way through it, when it's all done, you're going to have something that looks pretty cool. Now, I do not, in any way, shape, or form, expect this to be completed this week. This takes time. If you're being careful, it takes time. So I just want you to be very conscientious of what you're doing and very careful as you draw. And draw with intention. Don't get haphazard at all. Make sure that you're very careful as you're putting these lines on here. Go ahead and stop the